polite.
Greetings, baseball fans, and welcome to the Suicide Squeeze Baseball Show here on the Fireball Review channel. Over the past number of weeks, as most of you might know by now, I have been conducting a monumental list, a list to end all lists. Everyone on YouTube is talking about this. Everyone in the political community is talking about it. The entertainment community, the sports community, the agricultural community is going nuts. Farmers love this list. It's unbelievable, and that's the only group of people I really care about. I have been running down the 10 greatest baseball movies of all time. Number 10 was Bull Durham. Number 9 was Angels in the Outfield. Number 8 was Field of Dreams. Number 7 was A League of Their Own. And I'm about to unveil the number 6 selection in just one moment. Picture it. The year is 1992. Euro Disney has just opened outside of Paris, France. The first video phone is released to the public. It'll cost you a cool $1,500 though. And in the music industry, the karaoke world would never be the same after this year, because this was the year when Baby Got Back was released to the public. And in the baseball world, the National League voted 9-4 to block the move of the San Francisco Giants to St. Petersburg, Florida. And this was the year that Jack Elliott was traded from the New York Yankees to the Tunishi Dragons, which brings me to my number 6 greatest baseball movie of all time, and it is Mr. Baseball. Now, Mr. Baseball stars Tom Selleck, who has the greatest mustache in the history of humanity. This is an undisputable fact, ladies and gentlemen. It's just mathematical at this point. He plays Jack Elliott, a New York Yankee baseball player who was a World Series MVP at one time, but that was 4 years ago, and now the only thing this guy can do right is execute the perfect hot foot.
Baseball is a game, and games are supposed to be fun.
Compound this with the fact that Jack Elliott has a massively large ego. He is very set in his ways. Sort of think Barry Bonds, Bryce Harper, multiply it by 2, and you have Jack Elliott. But the Yankees have had enough. They are moving on from Jack's nonsense and shenanigans, and they are going with the young, hot prospect at first base, a man by the name of Ricky Davis, who bears a striking resemblance to Chicago White Sox Hall of Famer Frank Thomas. He bears a resemblance because he is Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas makes a cameo in this film.
Sorry, we recognize you from those Nugenix commercials.
Oh yeah? That's great.
So Elliott storms into his manager's office. He demands a trade. He wants to go somewhere else where he's wanted. Unfortunately, no one else wants this guy except for the Chunichi Dragons of the Japanese League, and this is where the fun begins. So Jack reluctantly agrees to join the Dragons, but from the time this man gets off the tarmac at the Japanese airport, there is a giant culture clash between the American and the Japanese. He has a signed interpreter by the name of Yoshi, and Yoshi is not accurately stating the things that Jack is saying to the media. Jack is being a bit of a jackass, no pun intended, and Yoshi is trying to save face. He is trying to make Jack look good in the eyes of the media and in the eyes of his coaches.
Do the hokey pokey! Turn yourself around!
And this isn't Jack's only problem. There are also numerous changes, on-field changes, that differ from the Japanese game and the American game. For example, games cannot continue after 15 innings, which means in Japan, and this is true, I looked this up before conducting this video, games can end in ties, which I have a huge problem with. This is one reason why I'm not a big soccer fan, and truthfully, even though I like the NFL, this annoys me about the NFL. Sporting events should never end in ties, ladies and gentlemen. In an age where we can't agree on anything, we should all agree that nothing should ever end in a tie. It is an absolute national, international disgrace. So I agree with Jack on this one. I also agree with him on the fact that apparently in Japan, it is disrespectful to take out a runner at second base. However, I think the way the American game is going over here, I think within the next 5 years, we will probably see this rule instituted in the United States, which will be a very sad day in baseball history. But Jack's got a lot of problems. However, Jack does have a couple of saving grace type characters over there in Japan. The first is a fellow Americano teammate by the name of Max. Now, over in Japan, there's a term for foreign ball players. You are called gaijin over there. And you can only have 3 gaijin, which essentially means foreign-born players that can play on each team over there. Max is one that the Dragons have. He is trying to show Jack the ropes. He is trying to get him to calm down and to not be such an egomaniac. Max is played by Dennis Haysbert. You might know Dennis Haysbert as the Allstate guy. You're in good hands with Dennis Haysbert. Nevertheless, this man really should have won multiple Oscars by now, if you ask me, because this guy should be in the CIA or working for the FBI as some sort of a double agent, because I had no idea till I was well into my early 20s that the guy that plays Max in Mr. Baseball is actually, in reality, Pedro Serrano from the original Major League movie. That is unbelievable to me, because all this guy did was grow a mustache for Major League. He developed a Cuban accent, and he just turned into a totally different person. And I had no idea that Max and Pedro were one and the same. It absolutely blew me away. Has nothing to do with the plot of this film, obviously, but it is worth noting this is a hell of an actor.
Gracias.
Jack also develops a relationship with a brand new lady friend by the name of Heroku, and Heroku is trying to show Jack the ropes. She is trying to teach him about Japanese culture, but as Jack's interpreter points out to him, many torrents surround Heroku, and he was not BSing, ladies and gentlemen. Heroku just so happens to be Jack's manager's daughter, and this is a huge problem, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what country you're in, whether you're in Japan, whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Canada, whether you are in Zimbabwe playing baseball, do not date the daughter of your manager. You will ride the pine for the rest of your life. I cannot endorse that type of behavior here on the Fireball Review.
What the hell's going on out here?
But when Jack and Heroku have a bit of a falling out, Jack becomes very close to his manager, Yoshimoto. Yoshimoto tries to show Jack how to be a good ball player again, how to show a little bit more humility in his life. In turn, Jack tries to show Yoshimoto how to have a good time and to enjoy baseball, because baseball is a game and games are supposed to be fun. And Yoshimoto is holding out on Jack this entire time. He never told Jack that he actually knows how to speak English, and this was a huge shock to Max and to Jack's interpreter, Yoshi.
Be damned.
Get your ass in here!
He speaks English. Set.
Now, the delicate geniuses that is the professional movie critics over there at Rotten Tomatoes gave Mr. Baseball a 13% rating out of a possible 100%. Now, let me tell you something. These are the same people that thought The Last Jedi was the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. Don't put any credibility in what these people say. Judge this film for yourself. It is one of the funniest baseball movies of all time. It is 9.5 flaming Filet-O-Fishes out of a possible 10. Now some fun facts about Mr. Baseball. I alluded to a little bit earlier that Frank Thomas makes a cameo in this film. He is hitting bombs out of the Yankee spring training facility at the beginning of the movie. Well, apparently the director was not so happy with Frank's ability to hit a home run on command to dead center field, so they had to bring in cannons. Yes, I said cannons, to simulate those bomb home runs that Frank was hitting in the film. Also, apparently, former Angels and Orioles infielder Doug DeCinces was a consultant on this film, along with Bruce Bochy, the former manager of the Giants. Well, evidently, DeCinces was hitting fungos to Tom Selleck, and Tom Selleck wasn't paying attention at one point, and apparently one of the balls hit Tom right in the breadbasket. And Tom was not so happy with Doug. But now I want to hear from you guys. Have you seen Mr. Baseball? Do you like the movie? Do you hate the movie? Are you indifferent to the movie? Let me know down in the comments below. And have you ever been to a Japanese baseball game and seen it live in Japan? Let me know about your experience in the comments if you have. It is definitely something I hope to experience myself one day. Kind of a long flight, to be quite honest with you. That's something I'm not looking forward to too much. But it is a journey I feel would definitely be worth the flight. And as always, hit that dislike button if you didn't like this video. Otherwise, see you next time. I will be taking attendance. We will be running down the number 5 greatest baseball movie of all time. It will be historical, magical experience. You won't want to miss it. Toodles!